right, we are recording. All right, good evening, everyone. This is episode 2 of the SouthrnMagic podcast. I'm your host, Crouton, joined by Will and Josh the intern. How are y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't know about you guys, but I'm well rested. It's a little later tonight, but I'm well rested, and we have a lot of neat discussions tonight. So ready to get into it with you guys.
Good too. I just got done streaming a Living End League, and that took a lot out of me, and I don't understand the record that I did, but we'll post that on YouTube later for y'all to check that out. There's no reason I should have done as well as I did on there, but I thought it was going to be a quick one. I feel like that happens a lot where you're just like, okay, I'm just going to play Burn or something like that, do a quick league, and then either go do something else or do something, either go do like Vintage Cube, which was my plan, or, do another league. So I play Living End, and I thought it was going to take like an hour or so, because like, okay, cool, cycle, poop on them. And then it was the longest stream I've done so far. I think it was almost 3.5 hours because I kept going to game threes and it just kept taking so long, but it was a good one. So to answer your question, I'm tired.
Yeah, that was actually something we were kind of talking about right before the show, because I knew you were doing Living In, and so I had to run an errand before we started, and I was like, oh, I've got to get home quick because he's playing Living In. He's going to be done just like that. And then an hour and a half passes, and I turn on the stream just to see how you're doing. And then I just hear you say, we're 2-0 right now. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. And for anyone who follows our Twitch channel will probably know, Sunday we had a great time because Gear Gaming Birmingham invited us to stream their RCQ.
Yep. It was a fantastic time. We so I was queued, and Josh decided to sit this one out and commentate with us. So out of the 7 of us, 6 of us were there. So me and Josh were able to kind of set up an area, because the way that Gear Gaming is set up is there's a play space, and then there's 2 rooms that are designed basically for D&D rooms. So what we were able to do is we were able to take one and turn it into a commentating room. And then in the other room, we were able to actually do the feature matches. They had a couple of wireless cameras. So what we did was we set one up on one side, one on the end. So we were able to have 2 feature matches each time. And I thought, oh, okay, this is going to be great. This will be good for us. We'll get a couple followers. Maybe we'll hit like, we were at 81, 82. It's like, maybe we can do a push and hit like 90, maybe 100 if we're lucky. We ended up getting 37, 36 new followers or something like that. Something ridiculous. Like literally we were just goofing off, and I was expecting like, okay, I bet we'll max out at like 20, 25. We ended up maxing out at 47, 48 viewers. We ended up having over 900 people tune in throughout the day, which was freaking phenomenal. And this was also off of cameras that were like, because of the internet and whatnot, they were a little bit choppy, but our audio was great. Our audio was good the entire time. We were complimented on our banner. And it's something that we really want to work on. So honestly, if y'all have watched any of that stream and you have any advice for us, please let us know, because we want to get better, and we want to keep we just want to keep creating magic content for y'all. And we think that one of the best contents is live magic going, not knowing having the third person view of why did they play that, why did they play this, why did they do this stuff. But yeah, if there's anything that you think we could do better besides the camera, we know about the camera stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you can think of anything that we can do better, just let us know. So,
and Andy Carter is looking to have us stream your RCQ.
Yeah, I'm free most of the time. Like honestly, like if y'all want us to stream stuff, if you can get us the internet and you can provide us a plan of where you want us to sit, because I will say, me and Josh are not the quietest people in the world. We did. It didn't come up until the finals, but they
When the
were
store
able
was
to.
empty.
Yeah, the place was empty. Obviously, you could actually hear us commentating from there. So as long as we're a little farther away from them, so they can't hear us go, "He made that block. What an idiot!" like that.
Just please don't put us outside.
Yeah, just don't put us outside. It just
this is one of the reasons why people should tune into this podcast every week. Is this is like a behind the scenes of the the event, which it was amazingly fun. I was a competitor in it. Hopefully everybody got to see my match that I had on stream. It was rough. It was a rough one. We ended up going 3-2 and coming in 11th, so our breakers weren't that great. But it was a lot of fun, and yeah, I think y'all did a amazing job with that stream.
You were speaking about behind the scene. Here's a fun one that actually happened. We didn't mention it on the stream, but actually, I think it was between round 3 and round 4. The owner of the store, he told us that the place was the 2 rooms were good. A group came in and they said that, hey, we booked the room for D&D. So he calls me up to the front, and I'm like, uh-oh. Well, I'm like, okay, we can work around this because first of all, the cameras were, we were able to move it and basically move it into table 1 and 2, which I was kind of scared about because there's people going on and I was scared people were going to kick it, but it ended up going well. Mm-hmm. The thing that scared me the most was there were 2 dogs there that two of the owners of the place had, and they're best friends apparently. Well, if they're not best friends, they like playing with each other at least. But they were running through the halls, and I'm just watching this oh no!
You see the camera shake a little bit, and your butt clenches a little bit. It's like
the mics actually have the cameras actually have mics on them. If you would have turned it on right there, you would have just heard just barking and all that. I'm like, oh my god! So there was one time one of the dogs got locked in the room. I don't know if you saw that, Josh, but one of the dogs got locked in the room and was like rubbing against me, like, "Let me out!" So. But yeah, that's a little behind the scenes. Like that's why between round 4 and 5, it got a little choppier because the cameras were moving, farther away. I also want to experiment and see if part of the problem maybe might have been my computer that is 7 years old, and see if we can use a newer laptop and see if that fixes an issue. But overall, honestly, like I said, for the first time doing it, I felt like it was a great stream. Like I felt like it was great. I felt like Josh provided really good commentary, and I think honestly the best part about it was around round 4 or round 5 when really all the guys just came and just hung out in the room and just commentated off that. I think we had 5 guys in the room at one point.
It was basically a combination. So the majority of the day was me and you. And then we would get a breather. There's one round. Drew would come in after Drew because Drew had a rough outing. So after Drew dropped, he came in, did some color commentary. Matt came in not too long, or about round 4. I'd say after round 4, Matt came in and helped with the final round and the elimination rounds as well. And the semifinals and the finals, you're correct. That's when pretty much everyone kind of swarmed in and gathered around the monitor and watched a pretty insane semifinals and pretty fun finals match. So it was a lot of fun. It's not too late to check it out. It should be uploading on YouTube. If not, tomorrow morning, should be this week. So give it a look. It's a long watch, but hopefully we'll chop it up for you so you can watch the highlights because there's a lot of good ones. Speaking of which, a little foreshadowing. Watch the Burn versus Scam match that happens in round 2. You will not be disappointed.
That was probably my favorite match.
One of the best matches of Magic I've seen in probably. I can't,
probably at least in a long time.
Yeah, at least 2 weeks. Yeah, definitely.
I can't. I don't have that good of memories.
No, it was very fun. Yeah, and props to you, Josh, for having the stamina to keep that going. And
you were on the camera the most. I really, after around like 4, I was getting fatigued a little bit. I was like, all right, I'm tired.
That does give
That's
you like
what that in me.
that gives you appreciation, or it definitely gives me appreciation for like Cedric Phillips, Patrick
Yep.
Sullivan, like
Oh, for sure.
all of them who do like multiple like 9-hour days every week, you know, or
Yeah,
back when in the olden times when that was still happening.
Yeah, it makes you understand why they get a little irritable around round 8 or so when you try to talk to them. It's like, oh, it's because you're sweaty and tired. Ah, this makes sense.
We please sign my token. They're just like,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I want to go get food.
I will say before we continue, I do want to give another shout out to Gear Gaming for letting us do that.
oh, for sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they
You,
have.
Gear.
Yes, thank you for letting us. Thank you for letting us do that. I mean, hey, if you run one in Opelika, just let us know. Like,
That's right.
bring us down. Well,
The owner of Opelika, if you were watching this and you know who you are,
Yeah.
let us come out there.
yeah, like
Honestly,
like I'll do it. Well, I don't know how the place is set up, but it'll be fun.
All right, so I think that will take us into the first topic that we want to discuss is the WPN premium cards that came out earlier last week. It looks like. So these are you describe them to me as just cards that you can just receive by going to an LGS. It's kind of just really up to the shop's discretion.
Basically, what's happening is throughout the year of 2024, they have made 5 promos that the WPN premium stores are going to be giving out, which kind of includes some like classic cards from basically around when the game started or so. So you have Sarah Angel, Lord of Atlantis, Zombie Master, Goblin King, and Gaia's Liege. The first promo that's going to be given out is Sarah Angel. That's going to be on the 4th quarter of 2023. And then first quarter is Lord of Atlantis. Second is Goblin Master. Third is Goblin King. And fourth is Gaia's Liege. Now, the cool thing that they're doing about this is these promos aren't for like, coming to an RCQ or coming to play in your Commander Night or something like that. It's literally whatever the premium store wants to do in however they want to give it out. So literally, like, if they're like, hey, you can, we're going to be running this big event this day. If you share our post, I will give you a Sarah Angel. And you'll go, okay, cool. Let me share this post real quick. So really, it's really good for advertising for premium stores. I don't know. It's a cool experience. Now, I do not like that it's only premium stores, and that's because I'm selfish. And I'm pretty sure we only have 2 in Alabama, if I remember right.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I know. I think it's Vans in Mississippi is a premium store too, and they're about 2 hours away.
Yep.
But if I remember right, they're one, and then I think
Alabama.
What's up?
Who are the 2 stores in Alabama that are premium?
I believe it's Magnolia. Magnolia Gaming is premium, and I think it's both of their stores are premium.
Oh wow!
I don't know that for sure. I know the one in Troy is, because I remember them advertising it and they had promos for it. I think it is both of them.
What about Gamers and Geeks in Mobile? Do they count as premium at this point?
I don't believe they're premium either. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but from what I remember, the only premium stores in Alabama are there. Georgia, or not Georgia. Yeah, Georgia has a couple. I think. I don't want to give misinformation, so I'm not going to say anything in Georgia. But I just know that Vans is one in Mississippi. But hopefully that can help bring out a crowd of people that want to bring out their decks. I don't know if there's a way that we can show what the cards look like while we're while we're doing this, but the cards are have very interesting art. They don't really depict how you think a Magic card would look. Like if you were to tell me to describe how you think a Lord of Atlantis promo would look, this would be the last one that I would show you, because the Lord of Atlantis promo is a merfolk that is opening MH2 packs, looking to up their Civilum deck. I believe that's how you say it.
Yeah, you'll get it.
They're very meta cards. Like, they're literally like Sarah Angel is playing a match with somebody. Lord of Atlantis is cracking packs. Zombie Master is literally attending a pre-release. Goblin King is kind of just like basically it's like he's just walked into the front of the store and is just in awe of all the product that is there. And then Lee just kind of like acting as like one of the older people that play Magic, just kind of sitting there just playing EDH. So very very different type of art than we're used to for promo cards and whatnot. It's not like them battling Phyrexians or anything like that.
I think they're cute. I think they're adorable. I think it's basically Wizards of the Coast. They're not taking themselves too seriously. They're
these are fun, cute promos and all of that. So
yeah. It's not like you said. It doesn't look like a regular Magic card. There isn't like war going on. It's just Wizards kind of like winking at the camera, winking at the audience, and I think they're cute.
It's their
and some of these
face, basically.
Yeah, it's looking at the camera and going, but some of these cards like Sarah Angel are kind of horrible nowadays. But I mean, it's cute. And, it's a very low risk card. No one's gonna wake up and shake with, fists of anger because of these promos. So kudos to them. I like them.
Yeah, I think it's a good thank you for like coming to the store and doing all that stuff. Now, like if some of the stores say, all right, like I said, it's up to their discretion, and they're like, you have to buy a case of Magic cards to get my Sarah Angel, be like, all right, bye. I wouldn't do something like that, but who knows? Who knows how they'll give them out? I will say that the promos do make me wish that we had a premium store, because just imagine just showing up to an event and we get we just get a promo Lord of Atlantis for literally walking in and saying hi to the storekeeper and not handing them a million cards to sort out that day. So.
And one of the cards that's in this cycle that's near and dear to my heart is actually Zombie Master. That's one of the cards my dad actually taught me how to play with, and my dad probably has, and I'm not joking, he probably has over 1 million of these. Like that SpongeBob meme where he's like they're babysitting that clam, and he's looking at Patrick, and he's like that. And he like tears down the wall, like all the diapers fall. I'm pretty sure.
Masters.
I'm pretty sure if you went to like my dad's laundry room, there'd be like 10,000 Zombie Masters. I'm not joking. He has like every version of that card. And so it's pretty cool that I get to see it in a new form, and I'm sure my dad will be tickled when or if he ever sees that card.
Yeah, the reaction to these promos has been very divisive from what I've seen. Like there are some people, they kind of have like the takes that sounds like we kind of all have with, oh, it's a cute idea, they're playing Magic, it's them holding a mirror up to it, and then there are just some people who are like, these are awful, they're so cheesy and bad. Like and Drew, our resident Merfolk aficionado,
pitched a fit. Not pitched a fit, actually.
He hated the Lord of Atlantis.
Yeah. It's because that's like the only card he doesn't have foil in his Merfolk deck. And he was like, oh, look, they're letting out a promo. Oh, they let out a promo.
Do you think that if these, is there any chance that these get like expensive, like just a random rare, like a random promo that gets really expensive because they're going to be like those premium kind of do whatever to get them kind of deal? Or do you think
I think if anything, it ironically, even though we just kind of poo-pooed on it, it would be Lord of Atlantis, because if you look at the other cards, you have Sarah Angel, which sees play in literally nothing except maybe old school, maybe, and I don't even know that format that well, so probably even not there. Zombie Master, which I guess would be in an EDH deck, but there's like 500 different zombie lords that are better. Gaia's Liege is kind of like, that card's been, the power creep inflation that's happened in Magic over the past 20 years makes that card look like a joke. And then you have Goblin King, which will be in your, your Commander Goblin tribal decks, I suppose. But no, it's more of collectability meets value and meets power. And the only one that seems to even sort of meet that bill is Lord of Atlantis. And I'm not even saying it's powerful, but it's just, there's going to be a Merfolk deck, and if you're playing Merfolk, you're probably going to have Lord of Atlantis because it's one of the first Merfolk ever made, and now it has a little nice cheeky art to it. So I think if anything, it would be Lord of Atlantis, and even then, I'm not convinced that card would be more than $50 maybe, and that's like the high. That's like the ceiling.
Yeah,
I was gonna
that's
say like
really
25.
high.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you remember during the D&D, the D&D product stuff, they let out some WPM promos that were like, they had like the D&D ampersand on that, and it upped the cards up a lot. That, I think, honestly, I'm trying to think of like a D&D card example. I remember some of those cards are worth like upper $100, $200 because of that symbol. But also, I think it's because of scarcity and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think, these are going to be more available. They say, they're going to be on this quarter. Sarah Angel is going to be like $1. I think that you're right. Lord of Atlantis is going to be the most expensive one. I think Zombie Master will see some. I don't think Gaia's Legion is going to be that much. And probably Goblin King would see a little bit. But I think it's going to be like $20, $15 card or so. The arts kind of make me feel like these were a secret lair also. These were a secret lair, and they just couldn't think of a title, so they just gave it to the premium stores. So,
that's an interesting idea. Yeah, it's like it's part of like a uncompleted cycle of a secret layer or something.
I feel like, a lot of the secret lair stuff, I kind of, or some of the cards, the promos they let out, I kind of get like secret lair vibes and all that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
Did I ever tell you my theory that I'm like theory crafting or whatever? We're eventually going to get a secret lair. This is, like I said, this is all made up. We're eventually going to get a secret lair set where they're just going to print off a bunch of these secret lair promos.
Secret lair.
I think they're going to be like 3 card packs, and they're going to be $30 each. Because you can pull very expensive cards from there, but also you could pull Ancient Grudge.
Yeah, you could get Ancient Grudge, or you could get like the full art old text Planeswalker cards.
Yeah, you just pull. You can say you can pull big money cards, or you can pull, Squire.
Sarah
Remember
Angel.
they printed that Squire and Stormcrow.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Gosh, there's just so many. I think we jested about this earlier on. You could just make a podcast just dedicated to secret layers at this point. Like it's so crazy.
Do you know about the beanbag chair?
You mentioned something about that, but
that was one that I felt like nobody knew about, and I don't know if anyone bought it. So it was a beanbag chair that looked like, just imagine throwing your Magic cards on the ground. That's what it looked like. And it was made by a furniture company, and if I remember right, they were trying to sell it for $800. I have to find it. It was wild.
The $800 beanbag. Yeah, please save your money. Like that is not worth it.
My wife says, Josh, I don't care what you do, just please don't spend your bonus on something stupid. Oh, say no more, sweetie. Come home. You just have a big beanbag.
You're going to be sleeping on that beanbag chair if you came home with an $800 beanbag chair. Oh man.
Oh, sorry. It was $975.
Oh my god, that's even worse.
Yeah, I'll have to send that article later, but yeah, it was one of those that was created by 30th anniversary, and it's made by the company Lovesack, so they're like an actual furniture brand, but it's a beanbag chair that is $1,000, but it shows cards like Sea Trino, so it's worth it.
See, I don't look at myself as go ahead. No. Sorry.
I'm reading an article right now, and it says that there was there is a cover for it also, so you don't get it dirty, that fits it, that is $400 more that you can add to it.
Jesus.
That's like
they're only available for a limited time though, so I'm sorry you might have lost that.
That's like one of those shitty like infomercials where like they sell those like $2,000 Ginsu knives, and it's like, but if you act now, we'll throw in a $3,000 bag.
I am not one to yuck people's yums and tell people what they should and shouldn't enjoy or should spend their money on. If it makes you happy, and it's not hurting you or putting you in a financially crippling position, I say go for it. Please don't buy $1,000 beanbag chair. just don't.
Yeah, and going back to like even with this promo stuff or any kind of secret lair, I do think. Now, granted, Wizards has and Wizards will continue to make really big and bad cash grab schemes for those who are lesser aware who play Magic, and I will always be against those because I think there are better ways to spend your money and for better and higher quality products. However, I do think that, and this is kind of a hot take, but I do think one of the worst, and in some ways kind of the dumbest way you can think in terms of Magic product is just hate on it, because it's not hurting you in a lot of ways. It's not really hurting anybody. Like I said, unless it's like a cash game, it's not really hurting you. If a secret lair comes out and it makes you upset, it's just not for you. If this promo comes out and you don't like it because you think it's goofy, well, it's just not for you. And so, so yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think it's cute, and if you don't, well, I guess we can just move on. But yes, I do agree with you, Matt. For the love of God, for those of you watching, do not spend $1,200 on a beanbag, because
you buy a
if
nice sectional for that much.
yeah, so that's buy dual lands. Do something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Just buy multiple dual lands.
Put a down payment on a car.
I really hope if you open the beanbag chair up, there's just a dual land just in there, something like that.
All right. Well, that was pretty cool to discuss the $1,000 beanbag chairs and the secret lair WPN promos. I think that we should blink at these Doctor Who spoilers.
Boo.
Angels.
Boo.
Quantum Screwdriver. I've never seen the show. I don't know Doctor Who.
I don't know Doctor Who either, but I tell you what, I've been a part of fandoms and I've talked to fandoms. I've talked to people who were Star Wars fans. I've talked to Star Trek fans. You start to get into animes. I know people who are Attack on Titan fans, Lord of the Rings fans. These Doctor Who fans, man, they will mess you up, big guy. If you say one thing that they didn't like about Doctor Who, they will come out of the woodworks.
See, Doctor Who is one of these things where I kind of hold it in the same regard that I do Harry Potter, where I know it. I don't dislike it, but I certainly wouldn't consider myself a mega fan of it. But I know people who are huge Doctor Who fans, and I've just never fallen into that camp. But I mean, nothing seems egregious about it. It's just I've tried watching it before. It's kind of just not for me.
I think it's one of those national treasures. And sorry to cut you off, Will, but I think it's one of those national treasures in the UK, because in terms of overall worldwide IPs, they really haven't created a whole lot. There's Harry Potter, you have the Warhammer Games Workshop type stuff. I'm sure I'm gonna forget something egregious and someone's gonna, come in the comment section and just flay me alive. But other than when I think of, UK British IPs, I think of Harry Potter, Warhammer, or Games Workshop, and then of course Doctor Who, and then it's just one of those big things, one of their biggest exports in terms of entertainment. That's in just terms of worldwide success, and it's been going on forever. I mean, it was literally in black. I'm sure that a lot of you listened to this know this, but it literally started off in black and white. Technicolor hadn't come out yet when it was first starting, so it's just been around forever.
Yeah, a lot of the reason I think maybe we're not bigger fans of this, I'm kind of the same way as you, Matt. I'm kind of oh, there's Doctor Who or whatever. I have seen 2 episodes of it, which one of them was a Weeping Angels episode, so that terrified me as a kid. But the way that I watched Doctor Who was through, well, my sister watched it through Netflix, and I don't even know if it's still on Netflix anymore. But Doctor Who was originally on BBC, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes. It
Yeah.
was.
Well, we're all from the South, and I don't think we have any channels that had BBC.
Yeah, you tell your homies you're watching some BBC yesterday. You're gonna get a different reaction.
Down here we have when when I was a kid, at least, we had Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, and Nickelodeon. And then once we got older, we had things like TBS, TBS, CW, Comedy
PBS.
Central, TNT, AMC, all that. I don't think we had I mean, I could be wrong with this, but I know in my family, I don't think we had the option to watch BBC until probably I was at least 17 or so. But like Netflix, like the first time I ever heard of it was through Netflix, and it just happened that my sister started watching that, and I was, in that teen angst phase where, I was like, nobody gets me or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So I was upstairs watching Lost. so I was upstairs watching Lost, and then I watched Heroes while they did that. So
Heroes was awesome. I know
like Heroes.
it had the greatest first season of all time, and then they just jumped the shark. But that show was, again, shout out to Hayden Panettiere and all those other actors on that show. That was an amazing show.
Yep.
But I digress.
That's my theory about like why we aren't too big of fans of Doctor Who, is because it probably wasn't shown. I mean, maybe PBS had it. Like I could be wrong. So.
I think Sci-Fi picked it up at one point.
Yeah,
because we watched my dad and I watched a good bit of Sci-Fi back in the day. Like he was watching Battlestar Galactica. Like that was the big thing in our house for the longest time, was that. And I feel like I saw Doctor Who on Sci-Fi at some point. Well, I was just also going to just pitch in on BBC before we continue on. BBC, I have a little bit of a soft spot for BBC because I did watch Monty Python and Mr. Bean on BBC, and
Mr. Bean was awesome.
Those sculpted my sense of humor from a very early age. Just
that hospital episode is one of the funniest bits of comedy.
My God,
where he has the pot on his hand.
Mr. Bean is like the best way to make S tier legitimately funny stuff, and that's not cringe and be clean about it. And it's so good. Please,
definitely one of the more wholesome sense of humor. I do want to ask you guys. So I kind of touched on it earlier when it comes to like secret layers and different product that WotC comes out with. What are your guys' thoughts on? And we're definitely not the first people to talk about this. But what do you guys think about the universes beyond and how they're branching off into the other IPs? They've obviously been doing this for over 2 or 3 years now, starting with The Walking Dead. But what is your overall opinion on it, and has it changed since the beginning, or where do you guys stand right now with this?
I think the D&D ones made sense because WotC does make they make D&D and they make Magic. I mean, I'm kind of in the boat that we were talking about, like secret layers, like, maybe some of these products aren't for you. If you're not hurting anyone, do any of that stuff. But it does get kind of silly. I have noticed that I've been saving a lot more money because I'm not wasting my money or, spending my money on, Street Fighter, Fortnite, Transformers, My Little Pony, Nerf gun, secret layers, and all that. Because the thing is, like, I mean, if you're doing, my thing is like for some of the secret layers where it's just reskins of cards, like the Lightning Bolt, and Hadoken. I was like, oh, that's actually really cool or whatever. But that's something that I wouldn't really like as much. Like I know what a Hadoken is, but I never played Street Fighter as a kid. But I'm not gonna name drop, but I know somebody that like who absolute in the Magic community that absolutely loves Street Fighter and all that, and he would probably love that. And who knows, one of our friends could be a big Nerf fan or whatever, and they also made lightning bolts of that. Now, granted, if you don't play red, you're probably not gonna you'll be pretty sad because for some reason they just keep putting lightning bolt in. But Yeah, I don't know. They're cool. I kind of wish they'll do kind of what they did with the My Little Pony cards, where they're all like silver bordered. Like, I think it would be cool to honestly, I think it would be cool to just have a dump of an Unfinity set, but they just dump every IP that they can't make a set of. For example, they're owned by Hasbro. There's so many toys that you can do there. Imagine if Peppa Pig got an Unfinity card or something like that.
Be so
Like
cool.
Peppa Pig is fighting freaking Leonardo from Team NT, fighting like I don't
SpongeBob.
know, crewing a Tonka truck. Yeah, like I think it would be cool as an Unfinity set. I don't like how when somebody plays a spell now, I have to read it a lot, even though it's just a lightning bolt.
Hmm.
I was like, okay, it's this thing, but it's also this card and it does this ability. Okay.
That's actually something
Yeah.
I was going to say. I am not precious when it comes to this game. Like when they first started coming out with like the license stuff, I think Godzilla was the first one.
Yeah.
People were mad about it. They were like, "This is not Magic. This is breaking my immersion." It's like, shut up, man. Like. Like, come on. And it wasn't even the fact that it wasn't a Godzilla. It was a reskinned something else. I can't remember what the card was, but yeah, it's just something like it's something silly. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a card game, and they're just game pieces that you can customize in any way. Now, when they started coming out with like the Lord of the Rings set, when they started branching out into original cards that are standalone cards and not reskinned as anything, um I can understand why people might be a little bit skeptical of them, because part of what made has made Magic really cool for like so many years is it's a creative platform for new ideas and new stories and characters. And by Fortnite-ifying the game in a way, by just taking whatever's popular at the time and just being like, okay, instead of us going back to Ravnica or creating a new plane or something like that, we're just going to get this IP so that we can create cards and use those as templates. I can understand why people would be a little bit skeptical of that, but at the end of the day, it's really, you're still playing the game.
Mm.
And it's not a big deal to me when all is said and done. I'm still playing Magic. I'm still playing my favorite game. So it doesn't really matter. The only ones that I do have a problem with periodically, and it's more of just an annoyance than anything else, are those ones like the metal cards from the
Ones you
secret
can't
layers.
read.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ones that you literally cannot read. We had that happen on the stream at the store when Wayne was playing Goblin Matron, and nobody knew what the card was.
Yep.
Because it was like, what is that? It's just like this massive, just blue and purple that even if you're looking at the card, it's hard to read, let alone seeing it on
Yep.
stream.
It looked like an Iron Maiden album cover. Like
Yep.
it was just. I don't
Yeah.
know what that is.
I will say I hope I'm wrong about this, but I feel like when we're going to the universes beyond and all that, I feel like we're running out of ideas. That's what it really feels like. Because if you look at the next quarter that we're going into in the previous quarter, it's like I feel like we're scared to take risk on new planes. Like let's take for example, we are in Throne of Eldraine again, or whatever it's called now, Wilds of Eldraine. Then we're going to Ixalan. Then we're going back to Ravnica in a remaster set, and then I think we have an OG one, or like a normal, like a new planes.
Have they
I don't know.
even
I feel like
said what the plane? I don't think they have.
there
Have they
was
just said
one
that
that's
it's new?
supposed to be like a spy. Oh no, no, we're going to Ravnica again. Like there's like a Ravnica remastered that also has a standard Ravnica set, if I remember right.
Okay.
And then there is because it's supposed to be like a spy themed one, like it's like a murder mystery type thing, which Okay, and then we're going to some Western plane, and I know there's that. So it makes me feel like I don't know. I think we're scared to branch out and try some of our more creative new ideas. I don't know.
I
I feel like
will.
we're just hmm?
Sorry, you can keep going.
Okay. I was just saying like I don't know. I feel like we're just trying to repeat the success of like Ixalan, and we're just gonna try to shove dinosaurs down people's throats every once in a while. And I hate like the repeat process of it because I don't know. I don't think I've I don't think I've really enjoyed like the the remakes of sets. Like original Innistrad was great, and then we got to the second Innistrad, and it was blah. I did like the third one though. I think the third one was really cool, but also I don't know. It's just mostly because I've been playing with those cards for a while now.
Yeah, the tank has been on empty for a long time now. Like 20 well, it has been running getting close to empty for a long time now because we've returned we the first return set that I can remember was Return to Ravnica back in
Yep.
2013.
Yep.
And then we went back to I mean, we've revisited so much since then.
We've
Like I just
revisited
don't want to
Zendikar.
revisited Zendikar, revisited Ravnica again. We've revisited
Innistrad.
Innistrad
Yeah.
twice, right?
I feel like what we should I don't want to tell them what to do or whatever, but like I mean, I feel like what they should do is they should look at Innistrad and realize, what did people like about this, and then maybe add a little bit of a twist on it on another plane.
Mhm.
Like, you can have vampires in different locations, you can have all this stuff, but like I don't know, when they went to the second set, they added like an Eldritch Horror thing. Like you could have just made that a completely new set. Like, I don't know.
I think where the issues, and I don't even think that Universes Beyond is indicative of them running out of ideas, because at the end of the day, where the problems, at the bottom line, where the problem would end is if they aren't able to come up with unique Magic cards. And at the very least, with these Universes Beyond, they're actually creating new mechanics and new cards for their respective set. I think where the problem lies is Wizards has, and I could be just dead wrong about this. I mean, I don't know the inner workings. I just happen to, if I had to imagine, because I work for a public company, if I had to imagine, Wizards has Hasbro or whoever is breathing down their neck just to release so much product because they've made so much money, and the last thing you can do is when you have so much revenue is drop in that revenue. So the only way you can keep making money is if you keep releasing product. And I feel like I do agree. I do think the tank is running on empty in terms of ingenuity and new IP space for the game. So I think these Universes Beyond is kind of like I don't want to say a cheap solution because that sounds kind of mean, and R&D for Wizards works their tail off. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, okay, look, we can't think, instead of working and spending months designing and framing this whole new world like Ixalan, like Innistrad, let's take an already established IP and just build Magic cards around that. Yeah. In the meantime, as we're developing these sets, because correct me if I'm wrong, the sets that end up being really good take years to make. Like Dominaria, original Innistrad, Ravnica, they take years in advance in terms of world building, not even mechanics, just world building, developing the different areas and the flavor. So I think Universes Beyond is kind of a way for Wizards to kind of keep throwing product out, but at the same time they can maintain their schedule in terms of building and creating new worlds as they move on. And that's why I think we also get we probably get one brand new set a year or 2 years. So I think that's why we're going back to Eldraine. That's why we're going back to Ravnica for the 7th time. That's why we're going back to Ixalan, just because it takes so much time to develop. And so sets like that and sets like Universes Beyond kind of bridge that gap for them creatively.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. And Garfield, they actually got Garfield to work on Dominaria too, and that I'm sure that certainly helped. But you are absolutely right.
You were kind of talking about like some of the cards they're creating with Doctor Who and all that. And I will say, like, for fans of Doctor Who, some of these cards are very flavorful. I mean, for example, let's just take, one of the most famous things in Doctor Who, Weeping Angels has a card. It's a artifact creature, 1 blue and a black for a 2/2. And do y'all know? I guess I should ask. Do y'all know what the Weeping Angels are?
They kill you if you look at them or if you close your eyes. Right?
It's the opposite. It's basically they only attack when you're not looking at them. Like the Boo Ghost. The Boo Ghost from Mario. And you know how like it'll close his eyes or whatever when you're staring at it, and when you walk away, it floats towards you. That's basically it. So the card has an ability that says whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, Weeping Angel isn't a creature until the end of turn. So basically, it doesn't turn into a creature; it's just a statue.
Well, it's so unfortunate this thing doesn't have flying or reach or something, because the second part of it, if Weeping Angel would deal combat damage to a creature, prevent that damage, and that creature's owner shuffles it into their library, you could just nerf Merit Lages with that. If that was the case, that would be so cool. But unfortunately, no.
Yep. So, to you guys, are there any cards in this set other than Weeping Angel that really reach out to you? That even for Commander, I know we said we're not going to be a big Commander show, but any cards that you look at and you're like, whoa, that seems pretty.
The card that I really like is Flesh Duplicate. Have you read that one yet?
I have.
It is 2 blue. And you may have Flesh Duplicate enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it has Vanishing 3. So if it's if that creature doesn't have Vanishing, which it usually does not come up, but yeah, it's a 2 mana just copy effect. That's not like Phantasmal Image; it just exists. You can copy their stuff too, so you can use it to kill. You can use it as in blue to copy their Orcish Bowmaster to kill it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It could be good in like an Aether Vial type deck too. Aether Vial it in. You can use it to copy an Emrakul. Like,
that's really cool. Actually,
yeah, I was saying you can use it to copy all this stuff. And in Vintage, it doesn't, or in Legacy, it doesn't matter that it dies in 3 turns. They're dead in next turn.
Yeah, the card that kind of reaches out and screams out to me is Everybody Lives, and I'm sure that might be the absolute strongest card in this set. This is the kind of card. So I don't play Commander often, even though I do. It's kind of contradicting because I do play it weekly, just with my dad. But and for those of you who don't know what it does, it's 1 and 1 white. It's an instant, and it is all creatures gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Players gain hexproof until end of turn. Players can't lose life, and players can't lose the game or win the game this turn.
It's super Teferi's Protection.
This is the kind of card that when I play Commander and this resolves, I get very heated because it is basically a white time walk. That's basically what it is. You get in these moments in Commander where you have built you up, and this it's not like yes, there are some decks that kind of just dump their library into play and they kind of cheese the win. But a lot of times, at least the level of Commander I play, the board state is developed over turns, and like I'm talking minutes and minutes of time that's gone by, and then you establish the winning moment, and then that happens.
Yep.
Same thing with the Teferi's Protection, but the best part about this card does not exile itself upon resolution. So you literally just, as long as that's in your hand and without counter magic, you just won't lose. And this is the kind of
Scepter. Scepter with that.
It's one of those cards that just steals the game. You can have that one guy who just sits there, does nothing, and then you finally have them. They just go, Everybody Lives. I win.
Well, there are some cool reprints coming in this set, because I'm just kind of scrolling through the set. Carpet of Flowers. We touched on much needed reprint. I don't know what that was sitting at price wise before this, but the reprint and does have very gorgeous art on it. Just $9.
So, the art is beautiful, just $9. And for those of you who have played Legacy and tried to cast Carpet of Flowers, that is like it's basically one mana mind rot because your opponent will always force of will it. They will always have to have some interaction for it because if you sideboard it in the correct matchup, that card will take over the game very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ecstatic to see the reprint, and I agree with you, Matt. That art is beautiful.
Yeah, I'll say there's some good reprints in this set. I will say that this is a set that if you want a card, I would just buy singles of it because I don't really want to do the math right now because I'm tired and it's late. But if you go on TCG Player and look at the Universe Beyond Doctor Who, it has sections 1 through 48 on it, meaning that if you do 24 times 48, that's how many different cards you have in this set slash products because it also includes packs and all that. So I was like, oh, well, yeah. So you have the 4 commander decks that are coming out, and then you have the collector boosters, and I believe that's the only boosters they have for. I think it's only collector boosters. Is that right? I don't know if that is or not, but
that is what I'm seeing on TCG Player. That may be incorrect, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing so far as well.
We should do a race to see basically how many collector boosters will it take for us to open our carpet of flowers. I'm gonna volunteer Josh's money for that one. So
I'm actually looking forward to it sounds silly to say the one card that I am most looking forward to in the set is Ponder, because I'll actually be able to have an affordable Ponder foil to put into Legacy, because I don't know if I touched on this in the last podcast. I'm a Delver enthusiast, and my kind of pet project that I've been working on is foiling out Delver in Legacy, now Grixis Tempo, whatever. And I've been looking for decent Ponder foils, and I might just pick up just a set of these just for $4 or however much it is. But they look pretty sweet.
Yeah. No, I think the set, it's very good if you're a Doctor Who fan. I believe they are doing serialized cards in this one as well. I think it's the Doctors. Don't quote me on that, but I think there is serialized cards. I will have to see if I'm right. I don't know if I'm actually right on that one. So, but I believe a couple of the Doctors are the TARDISes. No one of One Ring, so we're not going to print $1 million again, unfortunately.
There is a wedding ring though. Wedding ring.
There is a wedding ring. Yeah.
The probably even there is another reprint that I like that I mean, this doesn't really didn't need a reprint for price purposes, but I do legitimately love the art of this one. Is Past in Flames. Past in Flames is getting a reprint in this, and it looks I'm actually looking it up just so I can confirm, but it looks like a Van Gogh painting or something. It is it's very, very cool.
And, it might be a Van Gogh painting. There actually is an episode. I do actually know that there's an episode where they go and visit Van Gogh.
Oh, BBC Studios. It is a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah. There we go.
Man, that is really cool. Or done in the style of Van Gogh, because I do see the TARDIS in there.
There's one card that I was like, I could try this out in Legacy, and I might do a league with it. Because I'm an 8-cast player or whatever. I kind of wanted to try out K9 and see if that was cool. It's a 1-mana legendary artifact creature. It's a robot dog. And basically he has the ability that if he's untapped, other legendary creatures you control have Ward 1. So I kind of wanted to try that out with Emery or Psy or something like that as like a protection thing. It also has target legendary creature can't be blocked this turn, which really doesn't matter too much in 8-cast. But it's 1-mana Ward 1, so it could be all right. I mean, I don't think it's like a full-on 4 of or anything like that, but I do agree. I don't see anything that hops out. But also, like, there's cards that make strives and Legacy, mostly just because you don't know what it does. I mean, there's a bunch of Warhammer cards that are surfacing that are actually really good for Legacy. There was some in the last Lord of the Rings set. Fourth Aerlingus is like my favorite card in Legacy right now. That card's sweet.
That card's very good.
Card is very, very good. That being said, I'm pretty sure that's like the only card that's being seen from the Lord of the Rings Commander sets to be played in Legacy. In tier 1, tier 2 decks, I'll say. I mean, your tier 7 deck that you just piled together, that don't count. So
All right. Well, we've been going for a little bit now. I think we're just about ready to wrap this up so we don't like overload or anything. But just capping off this episode because I want to hear more about this from somebody who this directly affects because I'm a little bit out of the loop on it myself, and I would like our listeners to be clued in on it as well. So, Will, can you please just talk to us about the judge announcement that happened earlier in the week?
yeah, so it was announced sometime last week. I don't know the exact date. That Wizards of the Coast is not renewing its sponsorship with Judge Academy, which means that they are no longer on contract with Wizards to provide services. This was going to be starting effective October 13th. As of right now, we don't have any specifics of what this means. It basically what's happening is Judge Academy is not going to be supported by Wizards anymore. Judge Academy is going to be continuing their training, testing, and like certification of judges. But there is going to be a transition period where basically there is nothing sponsored by Wizards by judges. Originally we had Judge Apps, then that went away. Then we had Judge Academy, and then this went away. And now we are going to be doing something else. Now every judge that got certification through Judge Academy is still a judge. Like, I'm an L1. I'm going to be saying an L1. So, in my opinion, I think Judge Academy going away is probably a good thing. And I think any judge that is active would also agree. I know a lot of people in the judge circle were livid that they were promised basically when Judge Academy came open and that there was going to be a fee that we were going to get better promos, better stuff like this. The promos before Judge Academy started was Chalice of the Void, Mox Opal, Eureka, and Forbidden Reflecting Pool. 4 very, very good cards.
But before we continue, just because I'm trying not to cut you off your train of thought though. Just for anybody who might not be entirely familiar with the judging profession, what is Judge Academy to judges? Like what kind of role do they fulfill?
Yeah, so Judge Academy basically provides a bunch of different classes for you to get your L1, L2, and L3. So it helps you basically, learn the rules of the game, learn the policy of the game. Basically, like, if we're playing, me and Matt are playing, and I make an oopsie, what your fix to the oopsie will be. Like, anyone can look up, basically, I'm casting Fury. I'm casting Fury, and I'm targeting a 2/2. I'm targeting a 2/2 and a 3/3, but the 2/2 gives that creature +1/+1. Do both these creatures die? And basically, you can answer that or whatever. But The real thing is like when, let's say me and Matt are playing, and this is actually something that happened when I was judging. Let's say Matt and I are playing, I'm shuffling or whatever, and a card flies off the table and somehow lands in Matt's backpack or whatever. Mm-hmm. I act as a mediary to basically resolve these issues. And the issue would be, hey, can I go look in your backpack real quick? And they go, sure. And I go grab it and I put it there. But like, don't do that again. So,
or in the case of me and Josh, how I shuffled after we were playtesting, I shuffled one of his Murktide Regents into my Murktide deck.
That's still one of the weirdest judge calls ever. I'm in a completely separate match, and Judge and Will from across the room goes, "Josh, you might want to stop your match." And I'm like,
"Yep."
Luckily, I wasn't even playing Murktide that day. I was playing some garbage control deck. But
Yep.
you know you're in for a spicy one when you're in a completely separate match and you're like, Josh, you should probably stop playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt. I
Oh,
just
you're
kind of wanted
good.
to clear that up before we went too
Yeah.
far down the rabbit hole.
So, but yeah, my job is to basically be an intermediary and keep the integrity of the game. Like, nobody, I want to make it that it is a safe and fun environment for everybody to play, which means I want to make sure everyone's following the rules. I want to make sure there's no cheaters. And if somebody is trying to, that be malicious or whatever, make sure that the proper, steps are taken to make sure that they are not either on the premises or the proper, punishment is given. So the biggest complaint that people had about Judge Academy is you could speed run L1 and you could speed run L2. For example, you could, let's say that there's the classes, all you had to do was watch a video, which by the way, you didn't have to finish the video. Or you did have to finish the video, but you could just click past the video because let's say the video is 20 minutes. You click to 1959, and as soon as that video scene is end, you can just hit continue. Then you take a quiz. You take the quiz, and let's just say that I hit the first answer on all of them. It'll say you got 1 out of 10 right, and then it will show you the answers. You can then take pictures of the answers, and then you can just go do that. It's the same questions.
Okay.
Yes. And the thing is, there was no time limit either. And on L2 there is. On L1 I don't think there was, or like Rules Advisor and all that. You then you could just speed run this, and then what you did is I want to say you had to wait a week if you failed it, but on L1 you could take the quiz. You had to make an 80%, and it was like 20 questions or so. If you passed that, you got your L1. Well, not exactly. The biggest issue was you were supposed to kind of have somebody give you an endorsement saying that they're a really, this person is, worthy of being an L1. There was an issue where basically people would just go on Facebook groups and say, "Hey, I need to get endorsed by this." Like, let's say like Josh is trying to get endorsed. Some person from Minnesota would come in and say, "Yeah, I'll endorse you." And like, I'm not even talking about it, just like write like, the bullcrap answer of, a pleasure to have in class or whatever, that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would get their L1. L2, a little bit different. Basically, you just have to wait a day to do all your stuff. The other process that you had to do to get your L2 is you had to judge one event.
That was
it.
That was
That
the
was
only
it.
barrier. Wow.
You had to judge one event. So yeah. Because of this, in my personal opinion, I think a lot of the judges are kind of weak, and I feel like a lot of people kind of agree with me on that.
Yeah, the bar for being an L1, I
Yep.
think was historic, and this is gonna, I mean, I'm sure there are people they're going to be upset at me. I'm not saying that all L1s don't know how to be a judge. Obviously, you're very knowledgeable about the game yourself, but like I know at some larger organized events that we've been to, there have been outright incorrect judge calls, judge decisions that were made by card carrying L1 judges. So I knowing that now, I didn't know that speed running it was quite as possible. That kind of
Yep.
that makes that adds up then, because there were people
I know
in it
some
just
people
for
that
promos. Yeah.
Yep. I knew some people that got their L1 the same day that they made a Judge Academy account. I will say, like, in my personal experience, some people that are L1s are doing it as a power trip. Like, it's like they don't get the respect that they want in their, day-to-day life, like, their job, their school or whatever. And they take judging as I have the power, and like I have the power to make you leave if you look at me wrong. Because I have had some judges like that. Like the one thing that I will never do is I will never go up to you and threaten you with a game loss or whatever. Be like, hey, you better stop doing that, or I'm gonna do this. Because I've seen people do that before. I'm like, what? No. My job, the way that I'm judging, like. It's different when I'm judging like RCQs or like very competitive events. But my thought process, like if I'm judging like local events and whatnot, is that you are here to have fun. You are spending a day to you're spending your off day to play Magic and all that, and I'm here to make sure that you have the best, you have the best time in a safe way. Like, I don't want, I'm not going to let people cheat or whatever, but, I'm going to make sure you're all following the rules and all that. And I understand, like, some mistakes happen, like, you fat finger a card or whatever, and, I'm just going to freaking fix that real quick. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix that according to policy and whatnot. But, like, I'm not going to be like, all right, that's strike one. 2 more strikes and you're out of here. I'm going to, because I've seen people that say that, and it's like, I don't want to be here if you're going to freaking treat me like that. I'm going to, you politely say, this is what you did. The penalty for this is, a warning. It's just a warning. You don't need to worry about, you don't need to worry about it again or some crap like that. So, I don't know. I feel like, I also felt like Judge Academy was a little cliquey, but that's something else we can get into later.
Will judges still get any form of compensation for being a judge for events? Is there still an incentive?
Yeah, it's basically, you can see us as independent contractors and all that. So, like, places right now, like, I don't have to tell Judge Academy I'm judging events. Like, the places that I've judged, I just go there. I just go there, they pay me, and I'm good to go. It just shows that, like, this is a place where I can show that, I'm a judge. These are the classes that I've taken to properly run your event. So, and, I'm laid back or whatever, but, like, if I have to get serious, I will. Like, if Matt is playing against some person that's just, blatantly cheating, I'm going to make sure that, they're not going to do,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a clear boundary between a judge call of, hey, I was shuffling and I saw the card on top of my I was drawing my cards. I saw the top card of my library when I picked up my 7th card. There's a very wide differential between that and,
There's difference between that and then, I drew, that guy drew 4 cards off of his treasure cruise. That guy drew 4 cards off of his treasure cruise, and then he's like, "No, I didn't," and then like starts fighting his.
Drew
that's what I say. Like, always one too many card, or
back,
or like did something like that. It's like that's a little bit more. I will say, like, I haven't been a judge for too long. I started with Judge Academy and whatnot. I do know a lot of the older judges. Caleb was one of the older judges that basically didn't renew their certification because Judge Apps was a free program. Judge Apps was a free program to become a judge, and you got promos. And then Judge Academy made you pay to get these promos. And like I said, they promised like better promos and all that stuff. The promos right now are 5 lands, and if you don't even get all the lands, if you go to a conference, you get right now mountain and plains, and if you present, you get an island.
That is unfortunate.
Yep. So literally, I was like, okay, so we're paying $100 for basic lands, and then like, during COVID, it was kind of weird too. There was just a bunch of online conferences that basically a bunch of people just farmed. Like at one point, I think I had 6 omniscients just there.
Do you think that maybe, and this may be tinfoil hat time, do you think that maybe Wizards or whoever produces the promos, that they're purposefully making the promos be crappy so they can weed out the chaff that just want the promos and are passionate about judging? But like they're in judging because they want to judge. Like that's their entire reason for being there. Not, hey, I want this cool promo for free. I'm going to speed run this test and just get the certification. Do you think maybe that's a reason why they're cutting down on the promos some?
Well, judging used to. Well, some people actually do it, which I hate this. They'll actually just judge for free, and it's seen as like a volunteer basis. And the promos were given out because it was a volunteer basis. It was like, thank you for being a judge. We're gonna give you this guy as Cradle because that was a judge promo at one point. Yeah, Guy's Cradle was a judge promo. It's one of the only
Wasteland.
Yeah, Wasteland is one of them. Just stuff like that.
Survival of the Fittest, that's the other one.
Yeah, like Survival of the Fittest is a really expensive one.
A foil one.
Um,
Good.
yeah. So and then I haven't really complained about the promos until we got Basic Lands, and that's when there was kind of like a big uproar. And I don't want to say that WotC or I don't know all the details about it. You know, I'm just an L1 or whatever, but my guess is there was a bunch of uproar about the Basic Lands or whatever, and they were like, "All right, well, all these people are ungrateful, so we're just gonna cancel the program."
Okay, so
Yeah, no, that's kind of what I got off of it, but you know, I could also be wrong. I don't know.
okay, so to
They're like
kind of
they're not appreciative. Yeah.
so to kind of put a bow on this and put it in a nutshell, it sounds like the judges right now are kind of just in a middle ground right now. You're kind of in limbo, like between Judge Academy going away. You're just kind of waiting to see what picks you up next.
I think they'll make an announcement because I think they're gonna make another program about it. Hopefully, it's a better one. That requires mentorship. That's the big thing, like an actual mentorship, because that's how you really learn. It's hands-on experience and learning through somebody and whatnot, not just taking online classes. I don't doing that.
Absolutely.
Crap. I mean, I personally think that, you know, as a player and as a judge, I feel like there's been a dip in quality of some of the judges. I'm not going to name any names, but, you know, like I said, I've seen people go on just power trips with this, or like trying to hand out DQs for things that should be warnings. Stuff like that. It's just making up the rules on the spot, pretty much.
And for all of our listeners out there, if you have a very funny, or you know, if you want to just use our mailbag as a place to vent about a bad judge call you got or something like that, feel free to shoot us an email, and we will definitely talk about it. I
will say I will say the biggest thing with like competitive and stuff like that. If you do not agree with a ruling, do not be afraid to appeal or ask to see the ruling. Because it could determine, you know, if you're in a 5K, it could determine if you're making serious money there. I once saw this was before I was a judge call that was basically, it was back when humans was a thing, and there was a meddling mage on the field named Manus Rider. One of the opponents had an Aether Vial and asked if it stopped it, and the person said yes. The answer is no, it does not, because Meddling Mage says cast. Aether Vial is a put. After the game ended, the judge told them that the ruling was wrong and said, I hope it didn't affect the game at all. The guy had 3 Manus Riders in hand.
Oh, man.
If you do not think a ruling is correct, or really, if the judge is not confident on it, appeal or ask to see the ruling, or at minimum, if a card says the word played that's older, see if you can look up the Oracle text, because a lot of them have been errated to be cast. A lot of cards that say target creature or player have been errated to hit planeswalkers, stuff like that. That was a big one. I had a guy freaking called judge to get Oracle text on Searing Blaze 4 times because he couldn't remember if it was Planeswalker or what it was or anything like that.
Searing Blaze has been a consistently judge called on card ever since I started playing Magic. I remember playing Burn back in like 2013, and people still didn't know about the whole, if the target is removed, does he still take damage? And the answer is yes, he still takes damage.
Multiple targets.
Yeah.
I will say this though, this will be my really only comment on it because I'm not a judge. I've been interested in getting my L1, and this is coming from a complete outsider. But I will say that if we're gonna do away with this whole Judge Academy, and we're gonna start from the ground up, assuming they are gonna start the ground up with developing new judges, I really hope it's robust. I really hope it's strong. I really hope it develops really strong judges and it's more rigorous. I'm not saying make it like the bar exam, but I think you should at least make it a little tougher. Make sure that the people who do pass are qualified, and not only make sure that people are qualified, make the incentives really good. make it people want to be judges, because when you make people want to be judges, but you make it harder, then it's going to really test how badly do people want the incentives. Do they want these promos? Do they want to get certain judge privileges? And I really think they should make it more robust, because if you make it more robust, it goes without saying, you're not going to have these horrible and egregious judge calls like the Manus Rider incident. You're not going to have these really big, awkward moments where someone gets DQ'd for doing something that's a really minor offense, if that's the word. I feel like and it's really common sense. I feel like if you made the incentives good, you made them strong, and you made it more rigorous to where only the stronger or actually really willing individuals want to become judges, it's a win-win, because then only the best, or I wouldn't say the best, but only the truly qualified will be capable of running events. And those who, go through that process and through that struggle, they'll be well equipped and more equipped to handle tournaments and not cause any kind of controversy due to a poor judge call.
I will say that I do think Judge Academy being sunsetted is a good thing. I feel like the people that are upset about it, I mean, take this with a grain of salt, but I feel like the people that are upset with it don't judge that often. Like they're not actually a part of everything. Mm-hmm. The people that actually do judge are like, this is great, this could only be a positive thing. I know a lot of people, like, it does like raise their anxiety just a little bit because they don't know what the future holds. And for example, like, what if you became a judge before this event, you paid your dues, they just said too bad. Also, they don't give you any money. They're just gonna say, oh, you're still eligible for these promos, here's your mountain, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, so, are you aware of any sizable portion of the judging community that relies on judging for like their full-time income? Is that even possible?
There are some people that I know that they do it as a sole source of income. That being said, like, this is an independent contracting type job. Like, you can, as long as you're certified or whatever, it's fine. It doesn't have to be like, we're going to check your Judge Academy stuff or whatever. Like, now that Judge Academy's gone, that doesn't mean that means I don't have to have judges anymore. And then now you have a dream hack that's run off of just, MTG rulings that some person grabs. Yeah. No, you'll be yeah. So judges will still be around. It's just that, like I said, Judge Academy getting sunset, I think it could really only be good stuff that happens. Like, I think hopefully we'll get stronger judges. Hopefully we'll have people that are more inspired to do events. I don't know. I don't think I'm qualified enough to talk about why judge apps, like the original judge thing, became Judge Academy. I know it was basically because of a fake, or not a fake. It was basically because of somebody trying to unionize, and then Wizards being like, "Okay, bye." like it's like nah, we ain't gonna do that.
Yeah,
we ain't gonna meet your demands. Like I said, I don't know the full thing about it, but I do know that the original Judge basic lands that are like $100, $200 are expensive because of what happened. I'm not, like I said, I'm not qualified because I don't know the full history of that. That's something we would have to have, like, maybe Caleb or somebody else.
Those are the Therese Nielsen lands, right? The ones.
Yeah, the Therese Nielsen basics or whatever. They were given as an apology, if I remember right. But
oh wow, I didn't know that.
Something along the lines of that. Like, I don't know the story. If somebody in the comments or whatever knows it and wants to tell the story, go for it. But I don't know it as much. Like I said, I started around when Judge Academy started. I got my L1 because I didn't have because I was at work and I was bored because I had free time, so I became an L1, just taking the classes. And then I was like, all right, let's go judge an event. Then COVID hit, so I sat there for about a year and a half, just collecting promos. Then I judged my first event, and people would ask, "How long have you been a judge?" And I said, 2 years. And then they wouldn't ask me how many events I judged, and that was a good thing. So, yeah.
How does the interaction between Fire and Ice and Veil of Summer work?
I don't know. DQ.
Oh, okay.
Don't ask me that again, or you're DQ. There we go. That's the answer.
Oh man. Okay. Well, this has been a very fun conversation. It has definitely gone some places that I did not expect it to go to.
Yeah, I'm probably about
Um
to get freaking debarred or whatever
no,
from judges.
no.
I was saying, I was like, hey, nobody can hold me accountable anymore. So if y'all want to pay me like $10 or whatever for whatever judge call that you want, let me know. Guy, who
There
you
you
want me
go.
to DQ? How do you
Everybody.
want How do you want the card that you used to kill Rest in Peace? Where do you want it? Graveyard or exile? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Your opponent left already. So
And just to put this out there,
I'm kidding, by the way. I
if
want to put that out there too.
if any single person listening to this, and you can even share this with your friends if you want to, have any judge questions that they're curious about, direct every single one of them to Hargit at
No,
G.
no.
No,
I don't know how Sylvan Library and Chains works.
no, I got you one better. Just send it to my dad. Send it to my
Oh,
dad.
The
Old,
answer is
old
play different
system will
cards.
help
That's
you out.
always the answer. Just don't play that card. Play something else.
okay. Well, I think that will do it for this week. This has been a very fun conversation. Um Next week, again, we have our mailbag, our email open if anybody has anything they want us to discuss or touch on,
Topics that
or
you want us to know about.
yeah, anything at all. Feel free to reach out to us, and we'll try to fit it into the show. Next week, the 16th, we're aiming to have an episode up the day of on well, actually, I think we might actually push our recording date, have an upload date of Tuesday, because I really want us to discuss
Ban announcements.
the ban announcement.
Sure.
That is probably going to be, if there
Probably the
is a
only
ban
topic,
announcement.
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, if there is a ban announcement, I imagine that's going to absorb the majority of the conversation next week. So probably expect a new episode on Tuesday, I would say at the very earliest. Um, but right before we sign off, does anybody? What is everybody's ban announcement? We're not going to harp on it. We're not going to argue and bicker about our ban announcement predictions. We're just going to throw ours out there, and then next time y'all hear from us, all will be revealed. So I'm going to go with my prediction of no changes.
Boo this man. Boo this man.
Yeah, I am used to disappointment at this point. I'm like
Mr. Neutral.
I
My
I'm like
my
for
prediction. No, you're good. My prediction is standard. I think they'll hit Shieldred. I think that card in standard is really a menace to that format. I don't play standard, but every time I look at standard decks, she is everywhere. So I would hit Shield. I think Shieldred is a viable option.
okay.
Pioneer, and you're probably right, Matt. They'll probably not touch anything. But if I had to guess, Pioneer, Fable, the Mirror Breaker. I think Fable finally gets hit.
Okay.
And again, more likely not. I think if anything gets hit, it's going to be Modern, because that's the format that's just that's the new Pro Tour format. That's the current RCQ format. So if they do hit anything in Pioneer, which I don't think they will, because it's not the active format competitively. But if they do, I think it'll be Fable. And then in terms of Modern, I think they will hit. I think they're going to hit Grief. I think they just kind of have to. They're just going to have to rip it off like a band-aid. And like I said, I'm not going to harp on it. That's just if they do or don't, I will definitely mull over this more next week. But I do think it'll be Grief, and that's about it, because I don't really think they'll hit anything in Legacy. Maybe Vintage. They might hit Bowmasters in Vintage for all you Vintage aficionados, but I just don't see any other unbans. I just think, if anything, big if, they'll hit Fable and Pioneer and Grief and Modern.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're looking at this completely from the point of banning something like Preordain. last BNR was a complete wild card. Nobody expected that one. So we may even see some weird off the wall thing get unbanned. Too. That's a good point. But I can respect those. Grief in Modern, Fable in Pioneer, and Children Standard are yours. Okay. Will?
No standard too much, but I mean, I think any format with Children should get rid of it. But standard, probably I'm gonna say no changes. If Children gets banned, I wouldn't be surprised. Pioneer, I mean, I'm gonna yell it until it happens. Karn, go away. I think Fable should probably get banned too. It just does too many things for 3 mana. Too much stuff for 3 mana. It's just wah, wah, wah.
The Planeswalker you can't get rid of.
Yep. Yep. Modern is my hot take. Besides my Grief ban, I think Grief needs to be banned. I think Fury should be banned just to open up the format more. I think Fury prevents a lot of like creature-based decks to just be not present. Like, I don't think it's that. Like, I think that one probably needs to go. Honestly, just ban all the elementals. Just ban them all. But no, I think Grief and Fury are probably the ones they hit. Grief is the one that I would be happy to get hit. If Fury gets hit, I would understand. But also I'd be like, whatever. My hot take for unbanning is unban Yorion. I've been saying this forever because of the reason they gave for unbanning Yorion. It is a bullcrap answer. At least expand on it. You banned it because you said it was a dex error while promoting 80 commander decks this year. So you're saying that basically, that's beta male freaking modern players can't handle the 20 extra cards. Oh no.
This is so much different than this.
Yes.
Like,
but the Chad EDH players over there, they could shuffle it with one hand or whatever, do a riffle shuffle with like this. But anyway, I'm not mad about it. I think they could unban it. Like, I don't think paying 3 mana to put it in your hand and then 5 mana to bounce your beanstalk is that bad.
Bounce the beanstalk.
Yeah. I think they could bring it back. And if they want to ban something in return for it, the real hit they should have hit that BNR announcement was Renin 6. I don't think it's that bad of a problem right now, but I think you could, if you ban it, everyone would be like, well, good, I guess. But,
I could see Renin 6 being kind of like a forward-thinking ban. Like, they understand like the residual effects of banning Grief and Fury will be like these 4 or 5 color soup decks coming back. So I think being forward-thinking, be like, all right, look, fetch lands are already too powerful right now. We'll just nip it in the bud with Renin 6. So
yep, I think getting rid of that would be fine. I don't think they will, but I can't be happy. Knowing some of the decisions they do, they'll just unban Punishing Fire because Scam needed a kill spell they could repeat. So legacy wise, I think Bowmaster needs to go. That's just my opinion. I think it locks down a lot of things, but also like,
I don't think they'll touch it.
I think it's like, it's one of those. It's just like, hey, get rid of that. Maybe. No, you didn't. Okay, cool. I'll keep playing.
It's not one of the ban. It's like a maybe ban. I just don't think they care enough. And the more I'm starting to mull it over and let this whole conversation marinate, I'm starting to side with Matt. I just don't think they're going to ban anything. I think they're going to let it ride until we just don't care anymore.
The only reason the only reason I say no changes is because it took, like, I'm going to point the finger at inverter summer or inverter winter or whatever that time period was, where it literally took the entire, I think it was like the Worlds or Pro Tour, it was the big event that was happening.
Yeah.
It took like 95% of the decks of that metagame there being inverter for Wizards to say, maybe this is a problem.
You know what I hate about that stuff too? What I hate about it is they do bans too late. So all the coverage that they just did is just now useless. It's cool to watch or whatever, but it's like, oh look, it's the inverter mirror. This is useless now.
Yeah.
It's like I can just skip through this.
There's no rewatchability, and what I think it's ironic. And again, I know we're running along. We're about to coach. We're about to
You're
wrap up.
Okay,
But
that's okay. That's fine.
but one thing that I find it hilarious is Wizards was like they said it from the beginning of Pioneer that they were going to be extremely um harsh in terms of power level on cards in Pioneer. They want it to be a very even format. I mean, there are cards that are banned in Modern, and I'm sorry, not Modern, in Pioneer to this day that I think is ridiculous.
Basically modern.
The fact that Felidar Guardian is unbanned right now is just kind of hilarious because like all the cards that would have made it broken, like Teferi and Veil of Summer, those are gone. I digress. They were everything. It was like the in the French Revolution, where everyone was the Reign of Terror, where any card that was good, it got sent to the guillotine. You know, Kethis is pretty good, to the guillotine. Uro is way too good, to the guillotine. You know, you have all these other cards that are to Fairy Time Raveler, to the guillotine, and etc. So they were really, really like astute and very aggressive in how they ban things. And then you have a card that literally came up with like a 17% like share of the overall meta, maybe even higher at its peak with Inverter, and Wizards like, it's cool.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It just killed the format. Nobody wanted to play anymore.
Yep. It was a playground. It was an abandoned playground for the longest time because the format had been solved. There was no reason to not play Inverter. And it took forever for that to be changed. So that's why I'm saying that's why I am unfortunately taking the pessimistic shoegazing approach and just saying no change because like I don't have a lot of faith that something is going to change. I hope it does. I hope something cool changes and we can have a lot to discuss next week.
Let's unban Oko.
With that,
Oko has helped the BNR announcement. It is now legal.
My only hope, and this is the last thing I'll say on tonight's episode, I hope that whatever they do this time next week, technically yesterday, or you know what I mean, next Monday, I hope it makes me want to sleeve up a Modern deck. I hope it makes me want to do something. Mm-hmm. I hope it gets me excited about the format because it's kind of stale for me, and I would like to have a shakeup. And if not, that's fine. I'll just continue to play Legacy. But I hope I am excited. This time next week, I am excited about the format, and that's what I think they should do. Again, though, I'm going to be but until then, I'm with Matt. I'm going to be kind of pessimistic. They got to show me something.
Yeah. Show me the goods before I get excited, for sure. Okay, all right. Well, thank you everyone who stuck around for the entire episode. You are a trooper, and we love you. And we hope to talk to y'all, see y'all again. Tune in to Twitch. We're streaming on Twitch most every day. We have some kind of content going up. I'm not quite sure when this episode will be available. I previously said Wednesday, but right now, as of recording this, it's 11:30, which isn't a problem. We had a really good conversation. I just wasn't expecting it to go this far, so I think I might postpone editing this until maybe tomorrow evening, and have this up as soon as possible that way. But in any case, whenever you're hearing this, hope you have a fantastic day and you continue to tune in to the SouthrnMagic podcast and streams. And with that, does anybody have anything they want to say or touch on before we disembark?
Please follow us on Twitch. We're we're pushing for more followers, more all that stuff. I don't know. We talked about possibly doing either some kind of like giveaway or special stream when we hit 200. I'll see if that is something we want to do. I'll give away. I don't know what we'll do. We'll figure something out. But hey, we appreciate all of y'all for supporting us so far. I mean, we've only been around for not even a month actually. The account was made on 9/11. So on 9/18 was our first stream. So literally like it was made a month ago, and yeah, it's been fantastic. We speed ran and got affiliate, and I mean we already are starting to get like payouts and stuff like that, which we're gonna use to improve the channel, help like with the quality of stuff.
Yep,
So,
and commit immense amounts of fraud.
yeah. We will say that we kind of done this thing accidentally, but it's kind of turned out really well. So far if you tier 3 sub, we will just and you send us a list, we will just we'll run a list for you. It's a good way to support the channel, honestly. Like if you want to do that.
We will be your guinea pigs for your crazy.
We'll guinea pig it. I will say that if you hand us a thing of 64s, we're gonna take that as a do whatever you want approach. But like if you have a game plan and you want to see the list go for it. Like if you want to see, freaking, bug tribal, like yeah, we'll do that. But like, I want to see a win con. If you can present me a way to win the game, I will do it.
And we are talking about something, doing something fun for October 31st for Halloween. We don't quite know what that is yet, but we have something fun in the works for that day. So
we do.
Stay tuned. We've been talking about it. You've been reading the group chat?
I know.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Josh, why don't you sign us off?
Oh, sure. Well, like I said, thanks for sticking with us to the end of this episode. And as always, the best part about Magic is the gathering. So take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Bye.